I'm here along what's known as 5 Mile Road, west of Egg Lake, and I'm ready to hike another section of the North Country Trail. This wasn't especially easy to find. I pinpointed it on the map, but the trail doesn't have a trailhead or a parking lot. I was just able to find the point where it crosses 5 Mile Road. And here's a little marker. So this is where I'll start the trail for today. Going through a section of pines here, and there's evidence of logging done in the past. Doesn't look like it's real recent, but there's tree stumps and piles of brush laying on the ground where trees used to be. So at some point somebody came through and took the best trees and left plenty more behind, though. The trail is well marked. And seems to be leaving the logging area now. Came to a gravel road crossing here. The road is blocked by this big pile of tree stumps and dirt. Somebody definitely doesn't want you to go on the road past this point. And there's a private property sign over there. So I must be just on the edge of public land. My trail continues over here. Another 2-track road here. My map says it's a little road that comes south off of 6 Mile. Across the way is a place where people have had campfires, and there's fresh wood piled there for another fire. Looks like this little clearing here might be a campsite that people use. It's pretty remote, but it's in the Manistee National Forest, which allows dispersed camping, so I guess that's a possibility here. My trail continues over this. About a half hour into my hike, came across this little bridge with a creek flowing under it. My map says it's Mina Creek. This will probably be my only creek or river that I see today, according to the map. This is a nice little fast-flowing creek. Something that could be used for a water source if you needed it, after filtering, of course. Another gravel road crossing here. My map tells me it's 6 Mile Road. Pretty decent gravel road. The blue blazes are telling me to go down this road a little ways. There's a turn indicator. And here's my trail continuing to the north. Trail registration post up ahead. Last entry was the 20th, which was yesterday. A couple on the 19th, and then a couple more back beyond that. So people are using the trail every few days. Just past the trail marker, or the trail register I should say, there's a marshy area. Lots of standing water. It's been rainy up through this area recently, so the low-lying areas are pretty wet right now. Luckily I can stay out of this. Here's my trail on higher ground. Here's a little tiny bridge going over basically a trickle of water. Probably empties into that marshy area that I saw a few minutes ago. There's like a muddy pond up there that this water seems to either go into or out of. And my trail continues over here. Came to this fresh pile of sand right in the middle of the trail. Some kind of burrowing animal has made a den right into the side of the trail there. From the size of it, I would say it's something like a groundhog. He must have been digging recently because the sand looks fresh. I'm an hour and 15 minutes into my hike now. Just came to this trail junction. It says there's a Birch Grove trail to Schoolhouse going off this way. Tells me that I've come 3 miles from 5 Mile Road, so that's how far I've hiked. And 0.8 miles to the 7 Mile Road crossing, which is down this way. So I'll keep going towards 7 Mile Road. Sign here says caution logging ahead. Well, I hope they're not logging right now because that would put a damper on my hike. But we'll see what's up ahead. Well, they definitely have done some logging here. There's at least one row of trees that is completely gone here in this pine woods, and a big mess left all over the ground, as the loggers always do. Probably nobody will ever come back through and clean up the brush and the mess that they leave behind. Came to an area here where there's lots of tire tread marks into the path. And there's a lot of dirt thrown off of the path, off of the trail into the surrounding grass. Looks to me like mountain bikers or BMX bikers use this section here as a race course or something. Lots of tire tread marks in the ground right here. And it's just off of an access road over there, so looks like a lot of bikers use this area. Came to an area with lots of scorched trees. Maybe that there was a fire through this area. Trees are blackened from fire. It's quite open now. Probably nothing recent, but a fire in the past. Well, like I saw in my last hike, here's somebody's little raised hunting cabin posted for hunting, no hunting, fishing, and trespassing. And there's a big open area there where probably deer come from time to time. I won't bother the cabin or trespass. I'll just get back on the trail. Well, it's been a little over 2 hours that I've been hiking. My Backcountry Navigator app says I've gone 5.7 miles. So it's time for me to find a lunch spot and then head back after lunch. So I'll just look for a suitable sitting spot, which I hope I'll find pretty soon. Just heard a noise and saw 3 or 4 deer running along on that ridge in the distance there. And right here there's a good sitting log, so I guess this is where I'm going to stop for my lunch. I got done eating lunch and I'm on my return trip, and I'm into the area with lots of tire tread marks, and I've revised my thinking. I think these are motorized bikes on this trail. There's lots of areas where dirt is scattered, there's skid marks, there's bits of sod that are torn up and thrown off to the side. So I think these are motorized trail bikes being used, which I don't think you're supposed to do on the North Country Trail, but it's kind of a difficult area to police out here. Well, I'm back to the trail register. I did check inside, and nobody else has been on the trail since this morning. At least nobody that signed it. So I'm an hour and 20 minutes into my return trip. I'm doing well. I actually don't have that far to go. Well, it's starting to rain a little bit, but I am getting pretty close to my car. I'm hoping I can get there before it rains much harder, because I don't want to try to hike with my rain poncho on. That's not fun. So maybe I'll try to pick up my pace a little bit more. I'm thinking I'm about 10 minutes away. Back across Mina Creek. You can see the water drops on the wood right there. So it's really not raining much, but you never know. Well, here's a nice little stand of ferns just before I get back to the road. There's 5 Mile Road, where I started. And there's my car where I left it. I see some horse hoof prints on the road here. So I guess it gets used for horseback riding. Anyway, my thoughts on this section of the trail. It was a good hike. Nothing remarkable along the way. Not a lot of great scenic sights. But it's a good trail. It was worth doing. I still think that the hike I did 2 weeks ago, the one where I went from M20 and went south, so far for this season, that's the most enjoyable hike, the most scenic. So look in my videos for that one if you want a more scenic section of the trail. But I didn't get wet. It didn't start to rain anymore. So I'm heading back to Grand Rapids. See you next time.